Alright, the purpose of this video is to introduce you to the concept of homeostasis. This is going to be your homework for Friday. You're going to watch this video, you're going to read the slides, and you're also going to watch a YouTube video that's on slide 29. And there's also a link to a document that I want you to read in preparation for next week. So you are going to watch this presentation, like I said, and go through slides 23 to 29. All you have to do is watch the video, listen. If you want to take notes, feel more than welcome. So what are the goals for this lesson? Goals, there's three of them. Explain how the cell maintains homeostasis, explain the function of the cell membrane and proteins, and explain what homeostasis is. So right here I have two images. Homeostasis, I've read in books, and this example is used in biology classrooms, that homeostasis is when the body just wants to be just right. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. Because the body has to maintain a stable internal environment so it can function properly. And the body does this in a variety of ways. For those that are familiar, think of Goldilocks. Goldilocks ate the porridge that was too hot and too cold, but the body wants to be just right. And the body does this in several ways. On the right, there is an image of oxygen leaving the lungs, oxygen entering blood cells, red blood cells, and also leaving the red blood cells, because the body has to maintain proper levels of oxygen in other cells. So these red blood cells are part of that. And that's going to be relevant because we're going to do a heart rate lab, and the heart is what's responsible for pumping this blood because it needs to send oxygen throughout the rest of the body. So those are the two examples that I'm going to be referring to, and also it's in the document for the heart rate lab. What is homeostasis? This is the textbook definition. Let me read it to you and then I'll explain it. It says homeostasis involves the maintenance of the internal environment. Internal refers to inside. Maintenance is that we want to keep it in control in a constant state despite external changes. What this means, students, is that the body, many things can happen outside of the body. Changes can occur outside of the body. For example, it could be very, very cold. It could be very, very hot. There could be instances where there's low oxygen. Many things can occur outside of the body, but the body will keep the same internal state no matter what happens outside of the body. The most common examples are when it gets too cold, your body naturally shivers. You shiver, you shake of coldness because the body wants to generate heat. And it wants to generate heat because it wants to stay the same inside. Or also, what happens is when the body is too hot, the body will also try to maintain the same internal temperature by causing you to sweat. The sweat gets on your surface of your body, and then it evaporates and it creates a cooling effect. Why does the body do this? Because it has to stay the same. It has to be stable. So I wrote my little summary on this section right here. It says living things need to maintain a stable internal environment. The inside of the cell needs to stay within limits. Just enough oxygen, just enough carbon dioxide, just enough sugar or glucose. The body has to stay just right. If it's too much sugar, cause problems. Too little sugar also can cause problems. And these are other examples of things the body has to maintain. in balance, water balance, for example, if you don't drink water, you get thirsty. It forces you, there's a feeling, your body senses that it doesn't have enough water, so you're going to drink water. If you drink too much water, what happens? You go to the restroom, you urinate. That's the fancy word for pee. You pee because the body has to maintain a stable balance. Just right. How does the cell and overall body achieve this? Well, the cell has to remove some things, take in some things. It's like this constant activity that cells have to do to maintain an internal environment. These are the three ways, the three main ways. It has to do with how the cell transport materials, transports oxygen, transports sugar, transport carbon dioxide, transports so many substances that go in and out of the cell because it has to stay just right. Okay, so to maintain the same internal inside environment or just the cell to be just right, the cell needs to transport material in and out of itself through transport. And the three ways are diffusion, which is right here. A bunch of stuff is outside. That bunch of stuff is going to go where there's not a lot of stuff. You can imagine this is kind of like you spray cologne in an area, and the cologne is going to go to places where there's very little cologne, and this is how oxygen goes into the cell and also how carbon dioxide leaves the cell. Facilitated diffusion, this is more like glucose. Glucose, you eat something and it's sugar in your blood. The body needs the sugar for energy, so the sugar is going to go through these proteins and go into the cell so it can be used for energy. Active transport, the body uses energy in the form of ATP in order to pump things in and pump things out. The main difference is active is that it actually uses energy. Passive, no energy is being used. It just happens on its own without any activity in the form of ATP. So these are three ways that the cell moves things in and out and keeps things just right through these main ways of transport. This is other ways that the body maintains this is another way that the body also controls what's inside of it and what's outside of it. It's called endocytosis and exocytosis. And like I said right there, it's processes how cells release material and intake material. This is more like molecular biology, cell biology, but I do want you to get exposed to it. I should say material. Oops, I'll change that. Exocytosis is where the cell takes material and wraps it into a membrane and then goes out of the cell. Exits, that's why it's called exocytosis. Endocytosis is when cells take something from outside into itself. And this is how it looks in a scientific diagram. So basically what it is just these are ways that the body maintains the internal environment. How is this possible? It is possible with the cell membrane. The cell membrane has phospholipids, these little funny ball structures thing. It makes it semi-permeable, meaning that only certain things can go in and certain things can go out, and these protein channels are responsible for letting material in and out. So how does the cell transport stuff? Well, through its cell membrane. The reason why you are learning this is because you are going to develop your own investigation regarding heart rate, or we're going to use pulse, your pulse rate, and exercise, because When the body exercises, the cells are trying to maintain homeostasis through transport. I don't want to go too much into detail, but for example, if you're exercising, you're doing your jogging in place, let's say, your body's going to need a lot of oxygen because you need oxygen for energy. And what's going to happen is your body is going to change in order to maintain that same level of oxygen that is necessary. So that's what you're going to be investigating. You're going to be investigating how the body maintains homeostasis in regards to physical exercise. So, but I wanted you to know how that happens with on the cellular level. Cellular level maintains homeostasis so the whole body can be in balance. Your homework is to just watch this video. Hopefully it's not too long. You can watch, you have the whole weekend to watch it. But that's the point. I wanted you to learn about how cells maintain homeostasis. And I said it's just a way for the body to stay the same despite what's happening outside of it. You will be doing your first real lab, which involves physical activity, data collection, and developing your own investigation. What you're going to do is you're going to read the following document. So you're going to click right here, and it's going to take you to this document. It provides background and essential vocabulary, also structures that are involved in maintaining homeostasis. We are going to go over this in class, but I want you to read it on your own. I know it's a lot to read, but you have a whole Friday to do it. So this is pre-lab. Just get a preview of it. Get a preview of what kind of questions you will be answering. And this goes over a template of how to make your own investigation. Again, this is just preview. You don't have to do it yet. You're just going to read it. After that, you're going to watch this wonderful amoeba sisters, oh, that's too loud, video. They provide a visual of video on cell transport. Remember, cells maintain homeostasis through cell transport. Fun, right? Exciting. But we must understand things on a cellular level. That's why we were learning about cells, basic structures of cells. And that is your homework assignment, just reading it. So hopefully I was clear. I was a little bit distracted watching this video, but I think I covered everything. Let's go back to the beginning, not the whole thing, but you should be able to explain how the cell maintains homeostasis, the function of the cell membrane, and what is homeostasis. There's kind of like, for those language nerds, homeo refers to like the same, and stasis is kind of like something is static, kind of stays the same. So same. The body needs to stay the same. Well, hopefully you watch the video. I know it's kind of long, but you can watch it in parts if you want. All right, that's it.